This is why it is so important to listen to God when He tells you to do something the first time. What's going on, everyone? It's your girl, Tony B. So, listen, if you're new to this channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can be first to know when new videos have been dropped. So, I say that to say, I'm Tony. I'm 31 years old, and I recently just discovered that I am dyslexia, or I have dyslexia, whichever one makes sense. And God told me to do this video when I first found out because I was so inspired, like that I finally figured out pieces of myself. I felt a sense of freedom. I felt the sense of relief. And I just overall felt positive about knowing because I don't victimize myself for no one or anyone or anybody because I'm not a victim to life circumstances. I genuinely knew something was wrong, but I just couldn't figure out what it was. And I know for a fact that a lot of people may be listening now and like, no, you're not dyslexia. You don't have that. But you don't know me. You don't know what I struggle with because we all have struggles. You don't know that I struggle with this since I was actually a kid. And I'm going to go more deep into it. But I say that to say I went to my cousin's house because that's where my grandma stayed, who was my parent and guardian back then when I was going to school. And my grandma raised me, and I wanted to go ask her if she knew I was dyslexia, just to get like some answers or whatever, right? So she said she didn't know, but she knew something was wrong. She thought maybe that I just didn't want it to do the schoolwork or anything like that. So what she tried to do was put me on the IEP, put me in slow classes, and get a check. And it is what it is. My cousin, she gets mad. She tried to say that I was harassing my grandma, who is like 70 some years old. And I have proof that I did not harass her. My energy was very pure coming into her house and how I just approached the whole situation. I had asked my grandma, she in the background, like, you don't have no damn dyslexia. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You want to self diagnose yourself. And I don't know why you want to put that over your life. And I'm just like, she told me something, you want to ask grandma? Like, she was just being so negative and so rude about it. And for that, I'm never going to talk to her again because she gaslighted me. She tried to gaslight me and manipulate and overrule the conversation like a narcissist would. And I'm just like, how are you going to tell me what I struggle with? Then she was like, you graduated, you went to college. And I'm like, no, I did not go to college and I barely graduate. I didn't even graduate, first and foremost. So again, I had to make this video a few times because my energy was just everywhere, which is why I was saying, listen to God when He tell you to do something the first time. The first time, the reason why I wanted to make this video for educational purposes, that dyslexia does not have a look. There are a lot of successful people today that has dyslexia. Bill Gates has dyslexia. Whoopi Goldberg has dyslexia. Um, Albert Einstein and Tom Cruise, and the list goes on of more successful people who have dyslexia. So there's no look to it. But let me just spread a little bit of awareness of what dyslexia is. Most people would think that dyslexia is when you think a B is a D, or when you think a certain letter or number is there that's not there. And I think that's probably the mildest case of dyslexia. But I have a more severe case of dyslexia that I've, excuse me, actually struggled with in school my whole life and in my adulthood. And dyslexia is basically when you have when you have trouble reading, writing, and spelling. So it could be as severe as not wanting to read out loud because you're not a good reader, not being able to spell, or not being able to write. So again, I'm Tony. Let me just give you a little bit backstory on how I grew up. So my grandfather, who was probably 68 at the latest, I'm not ashamed to tell my story. And I think this is the problem that my family struggle with. Just be authentic It's your journey, it's your story. Nobody can stop you from telling your truth. My grandpa passed away with only a fifth grade education, and my grandma had to take care of him. So, education was not as fluent in my household as it should have been. When I went to school, I struggled a lot in school. I used to come back home and take my homework to my grandma. My grandma used to yell at me, call me stupid, dumb, and slow. But again, I'm not here to make her look like a bad person. This is my story. This is my journey. I have forgiven her. I still forgiven her. Even after my cousin just did all of that, I still forgive her. I'm not here to try to bash her or make her look bad about anything, but I literally thought growing up that I was just slow or dumb. So that's why I couldn't read or that's why I couldn't write. But that wasn't the issue. My grandma knew something was wrong. She knew something was wrong. And she put me on the IEP, put me in slow classes, and got a check for you, girl. That's what happened. And this video is to bring awareness into households and families who children may be suffering from dyslexia because, like I said, it does not have a look. It just doesn't have a look. But how did I recently find out? I mean, I don't need to go to the doctor and go get diagnosed with dyslexia because, again, I'm not trying to use it as a way to get through on life. God has guided me down certain paths my whole life based off this fear of not knowing how to read and not knowing how to write, right? And He gave me rewarding careers, good careers, because He knew that I was struggling with something that my family just, at the time, they just couldn't figure out what was going on. And I only went to my grandma to figure that out because there could be other people. This could be something that's going on in our bloodline. There could be other kids in our family that struggle from the same thing. But then you have people like my cousin who don't want to do the research on it, or who don't want to accept that this could be something that's going on because you think you know me. You don't know me. Baby, you don't know me. But okay, going back a little bit more into my childhood. So in school, I actually did not graduate. I didn't have enough credits to graduate. I had to go back. I went back first to get my GED. When I was in those classes to get my GED, I was only at a fifth grade reading level. That's it. And I probably was like in my 20s at the time, and I only had a fifth grade reading level. You can only imagine the vocabulary that I had built up from there, like nothing. People who know me know that I don't know how to spell. Know that I can actually read. I can read really good. I get overwhelmed by words that I don't know because I have to constantly keep looking up words that are just not fluent to me, and it's hard for me to spell out certain words because when you have dyslexia, you don't know how to pronounce certain alphabets and say certain vowels and know how to spell certain things out or sound certain things out. That's part of dyslexia. I never knew how to do that. But the English teacher for my GED program was phenomenal. Like we had to go back to the basics. We had to go back to phonics. We had to learn from the phonics level. And she don't know this about me because I don't just go telling her my business. For what? You can't help me. You be like, okay, you got dementia, so like that. Yeah, so she don't know, but how she, again, it's just how she went about it. Like the gaslighting and the manipulation just really got to me. Like, you're cut off. I'm never going to talk to you again. Period. So went back. Then I ended up going to Dream Academy, where I didn't have to get my GED. I could just get my diploma. I can just finish my credits. Excuse me. I can just finish my credits. I'm gonna make a part 2. Went to Dream Academy because all I had to do was finish up some classes so I can have my credits so I can get my diploma. So I did that. Graduated. Some of y'all may have seen it. I graduated. I literally had one person come to my graduation and they wasn't even in my family. So my family didn't even know, like, you didn't even know that I went back to school. to get my diploma, or you didn't even know that I did not pass 12th grade because I didn't have enough credits to get my diploma, which is why I went back. I never dropped out. I actually stayed at school. I just didn't have enough credits. So I got the credits. Boom. But I still don't know how to read. I still don't know how to spell. And this is bothering me because I'm like, okay, it's becoming embarrassing. Like, just dating certain people, I'm not confident in telling them, like, hey, I don't know how to spell, or I don't know how to write, or just going out and having to spell certain things, because English is so important to use on your day-to-day basics, right? And I was like, damn, I don't know what to do. Like, so I lowered my standards with certain people that I probably just felt like wouldn't care, because I didn't have the confidence, just like I didn't have the confidence in school, which is why I acted out in school, because I wasn't getting the help that I needed. So I'm like, damn, I'm slow. These other kids know more than me. So I'm going to just be a bully. I'm going to just be mean to people. That's part of my journey, my story. So I go back to Dream Academy. I said, hey, something's going on. I don't know how to spell that good. I don't know how to write. I need help. So they told me to go back to Armstrong and get my transcript to get my transcript. So so they could figure out like my grades and stuff. They looked at my transcript from 9th to 12th grade. I had a D in English. Because when I used to go to my grandma and she used to yell at me and call me dumb and stupid, I stopped doing homework and I cheated my whole way through school because I felt like I wasn't on the same level. And she was trying to put me in slow classes, and I wasn't necessarily trying to be in slow classes. So because I would have been away with my friends and I would have got picked on a lot more, and that would have just hurted my self-esteem. So I cheated off of everybody that I knew. Every single person I cheated. That's my story. That's the truth of that. So I'm figuring out what's going on. I'm figuring it out. I'm taking classes, but I still don't understand. I'm like, how the comma go before this and that? I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. So I told my cousin, I was like, I really suffered from this. Oh, to say you suffered is crazy. You didn't suffer. You don't know what I suffered from. And I did suffer from it because I had to cheat in school. That means I didn't even get my proper education because I was too afraid to go to our grandma, who I'm going to now, to try to figure out answers. And because you want to keep everything a secret or feel like she's too old to know. My grandma is not too old to know. When they are that age, they think about all the things that they regretted, whether we want to believe that or not. When you have parents that failed you, and you now have to take care of them because they have failed themselves at a certain level too, they think about all of those things, all of those regrets that they have done to their grandchildren and their children, and it haunts them. It does. I'm telling you, it really does. My grandma is like only 72, 73. I want to say 74 at the most. She cannot walk. People have to pick her up and take her to do certain things. I know 70, this lady lived next door to me, is about 76. She still drives. So my grandma my grandma knows what's going on. And my cousin tried to say that I was harassing her to figure out answers because I'm just trying to figure out, did they not know? Then she mentioned, she was like, do your cousin Mia has this? So clearly this could be something that's in our bloodline we're not paying attention to. And there's going to be other kids that come into our family that suffer from the same thing. But because again, we're too ignorant, or because we try to shut other people down because of things that we don't know, they're not going to get the proper help that they need. That's okay with her. I'm 100% sure that's okay with her. That's not okay with me, which is why I'm making this video and bringing awareness. Because when I found out that I had dyslexia, I felt relief. I felt freedom. I'm like, okay, it all makes sense. Who I am just really just makes sense. And I don't have to feel ashamed about any of the things that I struggle with now, like getting into relationships or just letting the person that I want to be with now know that, hey, I have dyslexia. And I just want you to be aware of that. I'm not using it as a crutch. I'm using it to let you know that I might get frustrated, or you might see me texting for a long period of time because I'm trying to figure out how to spell a word. Like, seriously, I'm trying to figure out how to spell this thing. So, spelling is not my strong point. Spelling, I have a big issue with spelling. I can read at a certain level. I can write, but I can't write the way that I want to write. I can't write at a 12th grade level. I can't write at a 10th grade level. I think the highest level that I can write at is like 7th grade. And it's a struggle. When you are an adult, you're trying to figure out how to spell, how to write this thing. And I'm taking classes, and it takes so long for me to finish my classes because people who have dyslexia, from the research that I have done, we don't use the left side of our brain, which is your teaching brain, your learning brain. We use the right side of our brain, which is why I'm so creative. I am so creative. We don't even think like other people think. Our thinking is like out of this world. We are just very, very different because we can't be fluent and creative in our writing. So we have to find other ways to use our creativity and to express ourselves. So art was my way of expressing what I couldn't say at the time, what I could not write at the time, right? So it was like an escape from not knowing how to read or write. Man, I used to mess up words, like simple words. Another part of dyslexia is we forget people's names. We forget, like, we can see, I can see the word, I seen the word dyslexia 20 times. I cannot tell you how to spell it. I cannot. And that's just something that I struggle with. And again, I'm not ashamed. I've overcome so much in my life that I'm to the point where I'm not ashamed of sharing certain things. Like, I'm confident to know that I could beat you in the spelling bee. I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm a big lion right there. But that's just to let you know, like, this, I'm not defeated by any challenges that I have. Again, I feel free. I feel so free. I just don't like the way my cousin did that. And I'm trying to move on and forgive her for being so ignorant and stupid and a gaslighter and a manipulator. But it's going to take some time because that was just too much. I feel like she didn't have to do all of that. When you want answers from someone, or you genuinely trying to understand a person, you don't just come out and just be flat out rude about somebody just figuring out that they have dyslexia. So you mean to tell me at 31 I got to go to the doctor and be diagnosed with it for you to care that I have it? No. If I say I have it, I have it. I don't just go around diagnosing myself, but I know something was wrong, and so did my grandma, and this what was wrong that we missed. So I just want to bring awareness to this because there are a lot of kids that are going to have dyslexia. 1 out of 10 people have dyslexia. Do not let the school system put your child on an IEP and then throw them in a slow class because they have dyslexia. Do not let them do that. Make sure the school is giving your child the proper help that they need to conquer this, because they're going to need that. They're going to need those coping mechanisms when they get older. And I think dyslexia has gone under the radar. Like, people forget that this is a thing. And again, it's not about seeing different numbers. Oh, you see this number, or you see A as a C, or no, it's not about that. Again, that could be part of it, but it's not the severe part. The severe part of it is really the whole English text, sometimes math too. Like, I'll be knowing what something is, but I still have to like do it on my fingers to make sure. I have to double check. I have to make sure that thing is right. Before I say this word or before I put this word, I got to go on Google and make sure I'm saying it right and pronouncing it right, which is how I became more fluent in um saying words, like increasing my vocabulary, because my vocabulary was very weak. It was very, very weak. And I was like, dang, man, I wish I knew better words. I wish I knew higher words. I would know them. Like I know a whole bunch of words, but I forget. It's part of dyslexia. I forget. I really be forgetting words. I be forgetting how to spell words. I be forgetting pretty much everything. And I say this to say, just, if you're around me, have patience with me, man. Have some empathy for me, because I didn't know I had this and I was struggling with it. But now that I know, I can educate other people on it, because it is something that we just push to the side. Oh, put him on an IEP, put him in slow classes. He'll be okay. He'll get it. No, don't do that to your kid. Don't. Don't just put them on a no IEP and just label them as slow. No, make the school do their job, or homeschool your child, because school is not a place for kids who have dyslexia. It's really not. School is not a place for no kid, if I could be honest. School is just not it for these children, for these generational babies. It's not. They're not teaching us anything. That's why there's a lot of kids who do not know how to read and write, because they're not teaching it. They're not. And it's not that when I went to school, they didn't teach it. They taught it when I was going to school. They taught it. I was there. I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. So thank you for watching this video. I really hope that this brought some awareness, some answers to those who may have struggled with the same thing, or who may be curious and think that they have dyslexia. I would say look up some videos. If it fits, you will know when something fits. You'll get chills. You'll be like, oh my God, yes, that's it. That's what's happening. You'll get excited. It's not nothing to be sad about. I was not sad at all. I actually thank God. Like, thank you, God, for giving me this answer. I'm Googling in the middle of the night because I'm trying to spell a word that I know I should know how to spell, and I don't know how to spell it. And I said, all right, what's really going on? What's really T? And the lady was like, hey, you may be dyslexia. So here are some strategies, and just learn some coping ways to help your kid remember, like the Webby song, IND. That was a great way to teach people how to spell independent. You can use strategies like that, like singing songs to help them remember how to spell certain things. So that's how I'm going to go about it. I actually found me a pretty cool tutor who teaches people who have dyslexia. So I'm excited to learn more words and to get better and to enhance my vocabulary in the way that I read and the way that I write. So yeah, I hope this brings some awareness. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.